Hello YouTube, this is Braden with Midwest Websites, your solution for business WordPress design and search engine optimization. And if you've been wondering why your website's not showing up in the Google rankings where it should be, consider reaching out to us for an SEO audit to start getting the answers. Link in the description below. Now, in today's video, I'm going to go over how to install an SSL certificate, a standard one-site certificate manually, onto a Plesk hosting platform. I am using GoDaddy's shared Plesk hosting with Windows for this installation, and with Chrome 68 on the horizon, now seemed like as good a time as any to get the ball rolling on putting this guide together. So we're going to go ahead and get started here in Plesk. I've gone ahead and added my subdomain example2.midwestwebsites.com, and I've put a WordPress site up on it already. So I'm just going to open that up real quick. Make sure my DNS is good. Might take a couple moments for it to load. Not a big deal. There it is. Alrighty. So our WordPress website's installed already. Our DNS is in good shape, so we should be able to get the ball rolling with getting this certificate installed. So in Plesk, what we're going to do, we're going to open up some options down here using the Show More button. Your options may already be showing by default. Your Plesk platform may look a little different depending upon which version you're using, but most of these same options are going to be present in your Plesk environment. It's pretty consistent from provider to provider. Now, to get started, we're going to go down to this option for Secure Your Sites, and we're going to open that up here. As you can see, we don't have any certificates on this Plesk environment. I just provisioned it earlier this afternoon. So what we're going to do is we're going to choose the option to add an SSL certificate. Now, in doing this, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be filling out a little bit of basic information for our certificate. The certificate name up here is just to kind of keep track of where the certificate is going. You don't necessarily have to use the web address like I'm going to, but generally it's going to be easier just so you know which certificates go with what, especially if you're running multiple websites on the same server. So we're going to put in, and I missed a bunch of letters there. There we go. Alrighty, so we're going to do one for example2.midwestwebsites.com. Now, if you've used GoDaddy in the past, you can automatically install SSL certificates on the root domain of your website, but if you don't have what's called a UCC or multi-site certificate, you aren't going to be able to automatically install an SSL on secondary domains on the server. I've specifically set up example2.midwestwebsites.com not to be the root domain to kind of show you what you're going to be in for if you're doing a manual installation here today. So we're going to fill out some basic information. Just going to fill in some basic business information here. It's going to ask where we're located, how to contact us, what our business name is, that sort of thing. Make sure we get all the letters this time. I'm going to go ahead and take the www off the end here because my WordPress website is configured not to use that. And with GoDaddy's DNS zone file, they redirect the www version of a website over to your main address if you're using a regular domain anyway. So there's usually not anything to be concerned about by taking that www off. Alright, so we've got our information filled in here. We don't have our certificate information yet, so we're going to go ahead and just scroll down to the bottom here. Or rather, hit the request button up here. Sorry, it's different than in cPanel. And we're going to go ahead and request our certificate signing request, which is going to be the first step for getting our certificate issued. Okay, it has gone ahead and come over here. Now, up here there's going to be a little bit of information about some steps after you get your certificate issued. This is going to be important later. We are going to be covering that as part of the guide. So, in the interim, we're going to go ahead and jump over here to our example2.midwestwebsites.com, and if we scroll down the page a little bit, we've got our certificate request and our private key. Now, the part that we're going to care about for issuing the GoDaddy certificate is just going to be the certificate signing request. So we're going to go ahead and copy all the text that's here, including the lines and dashes with begin certificate request and end certificate request. And we're going to jump over here. I'm rekeying this certificate in this case because I was working with the certificate yesterday. However, if you are doing a new provisioning, your screen is going to look fairly similar. The options might just be a little different. So we're going to go ahead and rekey our certificate. I'm going to paste the certificate request in there and save it. And then we're going to just submit all our save changes down below here. And at this point, we're going to need to wait for a little bit while our certificate issues. With some providers, this can be done in as little as a few minutes. Others, it can be as long as 72 hours. It's going to vary a little bit on a case-by-case basis. In most cases with a GoDaddy certificate, you'll usually have your certificate within a few minutes to a couple hours. It's just going to depend upon how much domain verification needs to be done, what type of standard certificate you're going to be working with, and in general, just how long it takes for everything to run through GoDaddy's system. Rather than having you wait through this, I'm going to go ahead and just pause the video real quick here, and we'll come back in once the certificate has been issued. Alrighty, and we're back. As you can see here, our certificate has been issued. So the next step is going to be for us to download our certificate files to our computer. Now, since GoDaddy's Plesk environment is on a Windows server, we need to make sure that we select IIS from the drop-down, and then we can download the zip file that has our certificate in it. Once it is downloaded, we'll just want to jump in here and extract it with our extraction program of choice. And then we can jump back into Plesk to start getting the certificate put together. Now, from this point, it is possible that you may have some site interruption with some of the next steps that I'm going to have you complete. So you'll want to make sure that it's okay for your site to be down for a little bit while you're working on getting the SSL certificate installed. Pick some downtime, either in an evening or on a weekend when the site isn't busy. Generally speaking, you're not going to be down very long in most cases, but it is going to be important that you are cognizant of that if it is a high traffic time for your business. So now that we've got our certificate file, we're actually going to come up here and upload it in Plesk. We're just going to click the Browse button next to Certificate, not next to CA Certificate. And we're going to go over to our Downloads area and grab this CRT file. Do not use the gd.p7b file here. It's not the correct file. And we're going to go ahead and send the files to the server. And if we go in and take a look at the certificate now, we will see that we have the certificate down below here. Now, the next thing that I'm going to recommend that you do is prepare WordPress to be ready for HTTPS, or if you're using HTML, this is the point where you're going to want to make sure you go through and check your code to make sure all of your links are HTTPS compliant and ready to go. You don't have to do this step before you install the certificate. It's just good to get the step out of the way and make sure that it's done so you can just test the certificate once it's installed. So I'm actually going to go ahead and log into my WordPress admin dashboard real quick here. Might take it a couple moments to load here. The Plesk server seems to be running a little slowly. And generally speaking, if you have your choice to run WordPress in Linux or Windows, it's almost always going to be better to run it in Linux. WordPress was originally designed for Linux and tends to run a little more efficiently just based on how the Linux architecture operates compared to Windows. It's not to say you can't run WordPress in Windows, but if you have the choice, you're almost always going to be happier running it in Linux. Alrighty, so we're going to log into our website here. Server is is still running slowly, that's no surprise. And we're in. So now we're going to go ahead and jump over to our settings. And we're going to go to the General tab real quick. And we're just going to go ahead and update the HTTP to HTTPS real quick. Make sure you update the WordPress address and the site address. Again, it's not something you have to do at this step. You can wait until later. I just like to do it right away to make sure that everything's working correctly. In some environments, not doing this step beforehand may lock you out of the WordPress admin dashboard. Doesn't happen in all of them, which is generally why I like to recommend this before you go in and install the certificate. To no surprise, we're getting an error that our connection's not secure. We haven't installed our certificate yet. All we've done is upload it to the server, so let's go ahead and jump over and start correcting that. So we're going to go over to Plesk here real quick, and we're going to go over to the Websites and Domains tab up at the top to go back to our first page. And in our settings that are down here, we're going to go ahead and go to Hosting Settings. And this is where we're actually going to go to get the SSL certificate installed. So down here, under the Security section, we're going to go ahead and check the box for SSL support so that the server knows that there is an SSL that should be used. And we're going to go ahead and tell it to use the example2.midwestwebsites.com certificate. Once we've got that enabled, we just need to jump down here and hit the OK button. We'll wait a little bit for it to save. And then once that's done, the certificate should be working. Just might take a couple moments here. I'm going to go ahead and pop open a new tab in my browser real quick to get ready for it. One of these days I'll figure out typing. There we go. Okay, it looks like our settings have been updated, so let's go ahead and have a look and see if the HTTPS is working. Excellent, looks like it is. Now, as you may have noticed here, I did not include HTTPS in the address bar for this one, yet it still brought me over to my website. This means that I am operating under an insecure connection currently. So we're going to want to make sure that our website is actually going in and taking any visitor to the secure version using the SSL certificate to ensure any data is being properly protected. Fortunately, there's a pretty easy way to go about doing that in File Manager if you've got the right code and know where to put it. So we're going to go ahead and go to the Files tab here to open up the File Manager. Now, as you can see, we're not in the root folder of HTTP docs. We're actually in our own folder over here for example2.midwestwebsites.com. And we're actually going to be looking for a file called web.config. So we're going to go ahead and click on that. And this is going to show us what it looks like. Now, our WordPress installation has already filled in some information here in order for it to operate correctly. We're actually going to go ahead and edit in the text editor, and we're actually going to add a second rule. Now, this is the full code for making sure this rule works in my notepad. However, since we already have some of the pieces of it from what WordPress has automatically generated, we don't want to just copy and paste the whole thing, though I will include the whole thing in the comment section down below for you. What we're going to be looking for is we actually just want this rule here, starting with the rule name, and going down to where it ends the rule with the /rule at the end. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and copy that. And under this first rule that it has set up for us, we're going to go ahead and just return and we're going to paste that in. So now we've got our second rule here. You don't necessarily have to space it out all the way over like I did. I just like it so that it's easier to read the code. And once we've got that pasted in, now we can go ahead and save our file. As with other things on the server, it might take a couple moments. There it is. So now, what we're going to go ahead and do, we're just going to go ahead and go to this example2.midwestwebsites.com again, and we're going to see if it has taken us over to HTTPS like it's supposed to. And it looks like it has, which is excellent. So everything is running on the server as we intended, and now the SSL certificate is installed on the server. Now, if you've gone through and checked your code for your HTML site, you're probably done at this point. If you have had this WordPress site for a while, and you're seeing that some of your images or sliders aren't coming up like they're supposed to, it's possible that some of them have not been updated to use the HTTPS code. If you right-click on a link or a picture and go and inspect the element in your browser of choice, you'll probably see that it's got HTTP down here instead of HTTPS like it's supposed to. By comparison, if we're looking at the secured version of the website, this is what it should look like in here. Most cases, if some of your objects aren't displaying on your page, this is why. Fortunately, there's a pretty simple plugin to go in and fix that, so we're actually going to go ahead and just jump back into our admin dashboard real quick. Log back in, which again, this will be pretty common once you go in and install an SSL certificate. It'll kick you out and make you log back in. Perfectly normal. Give it a moment to complete the login here. There we are. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump over and look at our plugins real quick, and this will be an easier way of going about this than going in and tinkering with your database with a search and replace. There's actually a pretty handy plugin that goes in and will be able to update most of your links, if not all of them, to use HTTPS. The only ones that it won't necessarily see are custom coded links that are outside of the database's ability to easily see. If you have links like those, this would be a good time to tag in your web developer and have them go in and fix those up for you. So if we do a quick search for SSL in the plugin area, we're going to see an entry come up for really simple SSL. It's going to be the first one that comes up in most cases. It's very popular, very easy to use. If we do a quick installation here, shouldn't take too long. Server's just taking its time today. The plugin itself is pretty light. It's generally unusual for it to take this long. Again, this is one of the reasons that it's generally recommended not to go in and set up WordPress in Windows, particularly in GoDaddy's Windows environments. They tend to run a little more slowly with sites like these. And we're going to get a quick lesson as to why that is, actually. So we're going to jump back to our file manager real quick, and we're actually going to need to go in and check our file permissions. So we need to make sure that our WP content folder is writable. By default in Windows, it often is not. So we're going to go in here. Okay, that all looks to be good. So I guess we'll go in and take a look at the plugins folder next, make sure that its permissions are good. those all seem fine. Okay. Okay, so it apparently did put the files in for us, at least it looks like, and said that it didn't install for whatever reason. Peculiar, but we'll roll with it. So we'll jump back over to our admin dashboard here, go to our installed plugins, see if it shows up in our list. There it is. So we're going to go ahead and activate it. And we'll go ahead and hit the blue button here to go ahead and activate the SSL and flush the rewrite rules. This will probably log you out of your dashboard, but that's perfectly okay. You can just log back in. Oh, we lucked out. Didn't log us out this time. Alrighty. And that's all there is to it. Your SSL certificate's installed and your WordPress site is secured, and any of your traffic is going to make sure that it goes to that secured area. So no worrying about HTTP. HTTPS is set up for anybody who makes it to any page of your website moving forward. I hope very much that this video has been of help to you. As always, please remember to like, share, and subscribe if it has. Help get this information out to those who need it, and have a great day.